Why are you depressed at work? Let's find out. Welcome to another edition of Shine 365, where our job is to help you lead a better life. If you're depressed at work, you have to ask yourself an important question. What is your motivation for working? Why are you at your job? Are you only working for the money, or is there something more? When you get up on a Monday morning, do you jump out of bed ready to work? Are you excited? Or do you just hit the snooze button when the alarm goes off? And do you keep hitting it because you really don't want to go into work? For some of you listening, you didn't have to think too hard. A scientific study found that most heart attacks occur on Sunday evenings and Monday mornings because people are triggered by having to go in and start work. Monday is the beginning of a whole new work week for most people. But why does this stress people out? If the statistics of the recent great job resignation tell us anything, it's that people may not particularly love their jobs, and that's not healthy. Many people are working for the wrong reasons. Here's why. Everything you do in your life has value to it. There is either intrinsic value, which means you just enjoy doing whatever you are doing for yourself, or there's extrinsic value, which means you're doing something because you feel forced to do it. With intrinsic value, you may not get anything out of doing what you're doing other than it brings you happiness and joy. And really, that's a lot. Generally, you may call something with intrinsic value a hobby, like perhaps painting. You enjoy painting because it relaxes you and it helps you get your creativity out on paper. It makes you feel good. So your painting has a high intrinsic value for you. You love painting and it brings you a lot of satisfaction. If you're able to sell one or two of your paintings after you finish them, that's just the icing on the cake. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum lies doing something purely for extrinsic value. Extrinsic value means you're doing it because you feel you have to do it, or maybe someone is forcing you to do it. Perhaps you feel you have to do a certain job because you have to pay the rent, or you need to feed your family, or you feel pressured into the job by your parents. These are all things with extrinsic value. If someone hires you to do an extrinsic value job like being a waiter or a front desk clerk or a valet, you can make some good money doing these jobs because, you make a wage, and a lot of these jobs that you get tips as well. And then you can take that money and you can buy things that will make you feel better about your life, but that's not really going to make you happy. You see, what you do with your time is so valuable. And since most people spend 8 to 10 hours a day working at their job 5 or 6 days a week, whatever your job is what you're spending time doing. So what you do for work is a huge chunk of your life. And if you don't enjoy your work, you probably aren't having a very good life. The more time you spend doing work for extrinsic value means the less time you have doing things with intrinsic value. The stuff you like painting. The big question might be, why does our society prioritize money to the point where we give up all of our precious time doing things we hate in order to make lots of money to buy more things that we really don't need in order to impress our neighbors? If you're working a job for purely extrinsic value, then you will probably never be happy. Yet as a society, we have continued to prioritize extrinsic value at the cost of intrinsic value. Here's a real-world example. Whenever we do something, we may feel we have to document it on Instagram or Facebook because what we're doing is important. And if we don't document it, we don't share it, we don't tweet it out, we don't Instagram it out, we don't Facebook it out, then maybe our friends will not see what we're doing. Maybe they will not think what we're doing is important. And maybe they will not be as envious of us as we want them to be. I remember one time on a trip with my wife, I decided on this particular trip I would document the trip on GoPro and put it on YouTube and Instagram and see what happened. Well, my wife got so mad that she said I ruined the entire trip. She couldn't enjoy the experience because I kept sticking a camera, even a small GoPro, in front of her face. And why was I doing this? Was I trying to prove something? Well, I guess I was, because I was videotaping the trip for selfish, extrinsic value. Did I feel forced into filming the trip? Well, maybe I did. Maybe I felt like I had to show that I was worth something and I could take this really cool trip. And you know what? Here's the proof. Look at my YouTube video. But I ruined the trip. And if we're only doing things to make our friends jealous or envious, then we are not really engaged in our lives. We are not living our lives. And if we're only working extrinsic jobs to earn money, possessions, power, status, then we will not have time to spend with our friends. We will not have time to experience the good things that life has to offer because we are too busy doing these other things. And remember, at the end of your life, when you're looking back over the many years you've spent working and living, what do you think about? Do you think about all the crappy jobs you did? Do you think about your storage locker full of possessions or your garage full of cars? Or do you think about the many experiences you've had with other human beings and the love you've shared with other people, doing things with intrinsic value, things that make you happy? If you've enjoyed this podcast, give us a thumbs up, like us, and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you next time on Shine 365.